Thank you for joining us, comic book fans. This is Fanwagon, and we're your hosts. My name's Alan, and this is Andy.
And we got a real special episode for you guys today. Just got done seeing Batman v Superman for the second time, and we are going to give you our spoiler-free review on the film. You don't have to worry about getting spoiled here. We're not going to talk about plot twists, plot points. We're going to talk about how we thought about the screenplay, how we thought it was directed, how it was shot, and how the characters developed through the film, but not giving away their integrity or morals during the film. Cal, the guy on the keys, what's up, man?
What's up, you guys? How you guys doing, Fanwagon fans? It's been a little while. Psych. We just were on your screen, hopefully yesterday. As Andy indicated, we're doing a spoiler-free review of the film. So if you're kind of like on the fence about whether or not you're going to attend, this will hopefully give you guys, I don't know, kind of like your push to go, because I feel like all three of us, we see the film in like a kind of like a good light, you know. I'm not going to say it's perfect by any means, it's definitely not, but it definitely is a film that is worth your time at the box office. So the first thing that I'm going to have these guys do, and I would do myself, is describe the film in one word. One word. Andy, go.
Well, we thought about this, and it's bold. One thing that you have to understand going into this comic book movie, it's unlike any comic book movie you've ever seen before. It's not because it's Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman on a screen together. It's because of how it is actually shot. You will understand it when you see it. It is a very, very bold statement. We talked a lot about this week about the buildup of it, and then we got the critic reviews came out, and we were nervous going in there. And like Cal and Al and I all talked about, is the way that they shot this film is almost ahead of its time. It's not us being DC biased saying the film is just perfect. It is a flawed movie, okay? But it's different than what we're used to. You have to understand we only have, for the DCU, we only have one film to go off of. And then you have the Nolan films. And then you have a shitty Green Lantern film. Yes. Those are the movies you're going off of when you go to see Batman v Superman. And the only one that's connected is Man of Steel.
Right.
So when you see this film, you're like, what is this? It's something different. I'm so used to my Marvel films and my Fox films. Where is this? It's a different spin on it. I enjoyed it. What's your word, man?
Well, like you said, it's a totally different kind of spin on everything. My one word that I'm going with is realistic. Now, we know these characters are not real, but if there was a Superman, an alien that came to Earth, I feel like how the public would be divided is shown in this movie really well.
Yes.
And we kind of get a little glimpse of that in Man of Steel towards the end. But like I said, like he said, we're not spoiling anything, so I don't want to get too much into it. But my one word is realistic. And I think that's the direction that Zack Snyder was going for in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
And I think that's what we're going to get with further DC projects.
Yeah.
More realistic tones.
Yeah, Cal, what's your word, man?
My word, without giving too much away with it, is challenging. And I'm going to say challenging because of Zack Snyder. He took this film as a challenge to maybe kind of change the genre of comic book films and push it more into a horror kind of realm, because that's kind of what I got, like that feeling of kind of just horrific fight scenes, horrific consequences, and the themes are challenging. We have religion, moral consequences, the human hypocrisy, and breaking points in this film. So that's my word. Going into our next topic, we're just going to give an opening kind of like our opening thoughts and statements on the movie. Alan, I'm gonna give that to you to start off. Kind of just like describe how that film like made you feel and why you either feel it's favorable or you didn't really like it. I know you like it though.
Yeah, like you said, I really enjoyed the film. I was excited to see it, but reading the critics' things kind of gave us a little bit of doubt.
Yep.
you know, all those were washed away after I'd seen the movie. Like he said, we've seen it twice. The thing that I really liked about it is what it's setting up in the future. You know, it's going to set up some great movies, I feel like, coming out of DC. Like I said, my one word to describe it was realistic. It seemed like it was something that, if this was to happen in these two cities, you know, it felt very realistic on how things, you know, repercussions and how the heroes are seen to the general public and to each other, you know, would be. It's very realistic.
Absolutely,
you know?
absolutely.
What about you, man?
You know, my overview with it, 3 years of just waiting for this film, and, you know, there was a somberness going into the film. It was a calm, and I think the best thing that I read was, listen, you know, lower your expectations. Don't go in here thinking that this movie's winning an Oscar.
Right.
And I know a lot of people were hoping that this was going to break some type of wall where it's like, oh, like your head explodes. You are entertained from start to finish. You have the action that Zack Snyder can give, and even though Chris Nolan, he's noted on there as a producer, but I think that's just a name drop for the film.
Yeah.
But it has that thinking element that Chris Terrio brought to the script to it, and you spend a lot of time analyzing the movie. I enjoyed it, and you know, I put something on Instagram earlier today where it's a comparison of 2 Rotten Tomatoes scores. It's and the caption under it is what we told you guys the last episode is, don't have a critic tell you what's good, be your own critic, because the picture is of a Sharknado at an 81% and Batman v Superman at a 31, and it's so asinine. It's just, the rating systems are totally crazy. You have to rate movies to your own. Everyone in this room has a different top 5 superhero film. Every person in this room has a top 5 movie of all time, or a favorite movie. It doesn't mean that they're all the same. But for me, I was captivated by the visuals in it. I was captivated by the acting. The acting is spot on. Like I said, guys, some people complain about dialogue. Some people had complained about the way the script was. And like I said, my word was bold. It's a very unique approach to take on how to tell it. It's not the heroes themselves. It's not the way it's shot. It is the storytelling aspect of it, how it's put together. You know, it's, without giving too much away, you know, it's a book where you want to go back and it's like, hey, you have to go back and see it again. And if you really pay attention the first time, you can grab everything. But the second time seeing it today, I mean, we went last night at 9:30, watched it in 3D, and then we were all kind of excited this morning when we woke up. Hey, we're going to go see it at 1:30. It's not going to be in 3D. Let's see how this goes. And we watched it, and as soon as the credits rolled, Cal looked at me and said, like, I feel great. And we all felt great walking out of the film. It is a great movie. Right. I mean, it's not an amazing movie. It's not astonishing. It's not a Dark Knight movie. It is its own breed. It's its own breed right now. It's a lager. It's like it's the only movie that has been made.
You know, like you said, going into it, our expectations. Andy said that we've been waiting, 3 years to see this movie, and maybe we did kind of, build it up to be something that it couldn't even do. No movie maybe even could have done it. But I'm very pleased with how it was. After seeing it twice, first time after seeing it, I was kind of like, dang, I loved it, but I didn't like, it wasn't my favorite.
You felt weird about it.
But after the second time seeing it, it crept up into my top 5. It's sitting at number 5 for me for superhero movies. I loved it. I loved it as a movie. It did have its flaws in some area, which every movie kind of does. I don't think there's a perfect, movie, especially comic book movie.
Oh, yeah.
But, I was very satisfied with how it came out and really looking forward to seeing what's coming.
Cal, you're a man that loves, especially when it comes to you, when you're watching a movie, I know you're a man that takes pride in what the pen has laid for the film. What did you think of the film and the writing aspect of it?
I felt like it made Man of Steel probably 10 times better. 10 times better in that kind of regard. you know, I'm a little bit different from you guys in terms of like which films I like. I'm not really that high on Christian Bale's Batman. I'm not really that high on the Dark Knight films. I do agree that Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker in The Dark Knight is extremely just in a league of its own. But I would have to put Batman v Superman ahead of all three of the Nolan films. And I'm going on record with that. This is the first time I actually said that, so that you guys might be shocked, but...
It doesn't shock me, and the reason why it doesn't is because this movie does give you so much, and it's not that... We knew going into this film that we were going to get some type of Justice League whisper. And without spoiling anything, it's not a movie that is like, hey, Justice League, there you go. Like, it's not like that. It's put in there, and it's not... Some people say it's shoehorned in. It's not corny. It can be corny, but the way that they did it in this film was actually like, it makes sense. What we have to understand is I'm looking at these films, and like you said, after Man of Steel made more sense, Suicide Squad's going to make this movie make more sense.
Yes.
Wonder Woman's going to make this movie make more sense. Every movie is going to get... I think this is a storybook. Every page makes page 2. You know, page 15 makes you understand page 2. That's how I view these movies. At least I hope that's how I view these movies. Like I said, I don't want to go in and putting this out here and have people say, well, I heard all these negative reviews and I'm disappointed and I don't know what to do, and these guys got to be biased. We're not biased.
Yeah, we're not, guys.
Completely. Captain America Winter Soldier, number 2 comic book movie of all time for me. And I have, you know, in my top 10, I have Guardians of the Galaxy. I have Avengers,
right.
You know, and I'm really excited to see what Doctor Strange does. But just to get back on to the topic at hand, let's talk about this. The fans with this movie is that this movie is sitting in the 30s. This movie is on track right now to be the second highest grossing to third, in the top 3 to top 4 highest grossing comic book movies of all time. Yeah. Right now it is tracking to almost hit 200 million, which would put it at Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yep.
Or Avengers Age
It'll
of
be
Ultron.
over that if
it'll be
it
over
gets
that.
over 200
It'll be
million.
close to the first Avengers.
Right.
Which, if you do understand this, to eclipse the first Avengers movie is insane.
Yeah.
Because it is the first movie of its kind. Just like I said,
Yep.
this movie is its own. It's the only one that we have like it. The style, the dark, the grittiness. People, I remember I walked out of the film and someone said, wow, everyone looks very somber. Everyone looks very like, wow, what did we just watch? It's not that. I enjoy the Marvel films. I enjoy laughing.
Yeah.
But I want to feel anger.
You don't want the funny stuff in every, you know, comic book movie that
and
comes
they try
out.
in this movie,
Yeah,
and
they
do a good job
it's all
at
right.
it.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, but I don't need it all the time.
Right.
If I want to laugh, I put on a Seth Rogen movie.
Yeah,
I put in, you know, Tropic Thunder. I'll put in a quirky movie and I'll watch it. If I'm going to see a superhero movie, I'm looking for the damn story, because you read the comic books. I mean, the Joker. The Joker is a clown.
Right.
He ain't funny.
No.
He's not funny. You don't have to depict these characters into a laughing, colorful, bright flower. You know, one thing that you put this, people have been comparing it to is like a weed that has a flower on it, and it's like it's nice looking, but you don't agree with it in your lawn.
Right.
And Cal, you were the one that said it. Do you think this is above its time?
I think that this movie is comparable to Yeezus in that it's 5 years ahead of its time in terms of how it is edited and the way the score is implemented. And just one of the biggest things that I felt like was so powerful about the film is the way sound is implemented. And I know that might have an effect on you, what theater you go to. Like, we went to a pretty good theater, so if you're kind of in a janky theater, it might not be as potent, but the sound is just incredible. Whoever they had Foleying, like the sound effects and just the way the score is implemented and the quick, shocking cuts in the score, I think that's just ahead of its time, man. One of the things that I did love about the film, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but we do get a full taste of Batman v Superman. Like, that is definitely something that I thought maybe might get shorted. Like, it might be just called Batman v Superman just to get people in, and it really isn't kind of a focus. But it was kind of cool to see those two titans kind of clash mentally and then eventually culminating in a physical battle. But going into our last thing that I'm going to ask you before I'm going to ask you to rate the film, what sucked ass? Without spoiling anything, let me know, Andy, what sucked ass?
Sucking ass. Well, with the movie, I'm going to say the readiness for the fans for this film. That's what inside the film, personally, I had trouble catching up. The beginning is from I love the beginning, and at the end I'm captivated. I'm invested. In the middle, it's the getting used to factor of how this film is put together. You will if you are this movie, and I tweeted it. It is not made for mom and dad that have never picked up a 10-page comic book.
Right.
It is made for you who is a sweaty, you love the comics, you love, all the superhero films that come out, you all that stuff. That's what it's made for. If you can understand and do a little research after this film, it's like, holy shit, that makes sense. Tori, she asked me, we were talking and she said, what does this mean? What does that mean? I kind of explained it to her and she's like, oh, we're going to go see it again. And that might be the second thing, is that after you see this film, if you have a question, you type in Fanwagon and we'll try to answer your questions for you through our videos, where you go through and you try to look at other things online, what you can do, see, every comic book movie ever almost does some type of reference to another comic book.
Right.
In this one, I really feel like we get 4 to 3, 2 very strong ones,
yes,
and then a hidden one, I think, that you and I just talked about this morning. That will be in our spoilers review. I'm not going to release that, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What did you not? Not that you didn't like, but like just something that you could have lived without.
Well, I don't think any aspect of this movie sucks ass. There is things that I'm not completely happy with. I wish we would have dug in a little bit deeper to Lex Luthor's kind of backstory. I'm not going to get into anything too crazy to spoil anything. And a thing that I'm not necessarily unhappy with, because I enjoyed, but some people might go and see this movie once and only give it that one shot and be like, I didn't like it, when it could take, we understood the movie more the second time we seen it.
Yeah.
We kind of got into what I think Terrio, Snyder, and everybody involved with this movie was kind of going for. The second time that we watched, it's a thinking movie. And if you take like the non-comic book fan to it, they could be like, what the heck is this? Like, I gotta think to watch this movie? It's not, and people could compare it to a Marvel movie, where, not saying that all of their movies you don't have to think in, but they're not as hidden as they are in this movie. So, I think that's something that could potentially hurt the film in the long run. And, I just wish fans would kind of give it that chance and go and see it twice, I think that's a way to get the full experience of the movie.
Yeah, and what I do like is the differentiation of what DC and Marvel have between the films. Because you pop one in, and it's not the quality of the film. Let's be honest. Watching Man of Steel, the quality, the CGI, the scale of it is way bigger than most Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%.
It is the tone follows through. It is, let's say, it's the color palette on it as well. And I don't necessarily think I like one more than the other. For me personally, I like the separation and the diversity that I get with these movies right now. Because I can pop a DC and a Marvel movie in and play them at the same time. And I can go up to my grandma and be like, can you tell a difference? DC movies are darker in tone, obviously.
Right.
And I want to say, so far, even from the Dark Knight trilogy to Man of Steel, the scale is way bigger. Yeah. I feel like it's just a way bigger scale than what the Marvel movies are. Now, take Captain America Winter Soldier out of it, because I think that's a movie with a big grand scale, but at the same time with it, you can just tell the tone, the feeling of it, the scale, the color palette, all the way down to that. It's dark in colors, and we. This is not a spoiler, but even with Batman v Superman, what's the one thing that you noticed about Superman's costume? The light, and they made that more of a, instead of a dark blue, a light blue. They listened to the fans, guys, and what they listened to is that, well, this isn't the Superman we've got from the comic books. This is the Superman you guys are getting from the comic books. It's not the, lick your thumb and bring the curl down. It's more along the lines of like, he's not punching a rock like Superman Returns. It's stuff like that. Be your own critic. Go and view your own movie and tell yourself if you liked it or not. And number one, if you're never sure about a film, never give it, like, you don't just say like, oh, I don't get it. Because you're supposed to get it. Especially with these bigger movies, you're gonna get it. I heard a comparison to Stanley Kubrick on this film. It's not the way that, like, there's hidden little things everywhere. Just like Cal said, it's ahead of its time by 5 years. Did you not like, I know you didn't like things, but what was like the big thing with you that you were just kind of like, I didn't need that, Cal?
There are certain scenes that kind of lacked a sense of quality to them. Like, it kind of seemed like it was either like dumbed down for the fans, just in case like they didn't understand what was going on. And I didn't really like that, especially because the majority of the film is very, very complex. They're expecting you to go in already knowing certain things about characters, already knowing certain like habits, you know what I mean? And so I felt like some of the scenes, it kind of went backwards and dumbed it down, and you'll see what I mean. I thought that some of the character development could have been more, all-encompassing, and maybe we'll get that in the longer cut. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. I told these guys earlier that it was probably the best opening 20 minutes of a superhero film that I've ever seen. Like, it just had me engaged. It showed me something from a new light, and I really appreciated it. So that's all I have negatively to talk about. When we give the spoiler review, I'll have more points to give you guys. But lastly, we're going to end it on our rating. And for me personally, it actually bumped up from last night, and I'm going to go with an 8.4, so like an 84%. That's how high I am on this film. It's at a solid B. I felt like Affleck killed it. Henry Cavill was my star of the movie. Gal was crazy. Just like, she totally owned the screen every single time she was on the screen. And Jesse Eisenberg, my God, he was so convincing and just so, like, just evil, man. Like, just malicious and just crazy, out of his mind. And I really appreciated it. And I was really nervous about him, especially when I saw some negative reviews, because that was something that way back in the summer I talked to these guys about. And that's exactly why I got an 8.4, to go along with the score, as I said, and then the sound. And obviously Zack Snyder's known for visuals and how dark his movies can be. I'm gonna give it to Andy. What's your rating?
Yo, rating off the back is an 8, solid 8. I enjoyed the film. You touched on something that I forgot to talk about, and that was the score. It is the best superhero scores we have ever gotten.
Right.
Hans Zimmer, Junkie XL, you guys nailed it. Great job. I put Man of Steel at an 8.5 for me. So being at an 8, it's a little bit behind. I was a little bit more emotionally invested with Pa Kent and Jor-El and Clark Kent, Kal-El's relationship more in this movie. More than this movie, but I enjoyed this movie. It's great. Where are you at with it?
Well, I'm going to give it an 8.7, and the reason why I give it that is because we heard when all this casting and whatnot came out that it was going to be overcrowded.
Yeah.
Not overcrowded at all. Everybody's characters are perfectly placed in there, and great actors. Like you guys mentioned, the score. I got a couple scenes in that we'll talk about in the spoiler edition, that the scores, I'm just like, holy crap,
goosebumps.
Man. Yeah, but I really enjoyed the film. Like I said, I'm giving it an 8.7.
Yes.
And that's where I'm at with it.
All positive for us, guys. We really enjoyed the film, and we hope you guys do too. Kel, that's it for the day?
That's it for today because I don't want to spoil anything. And I know if we keep going on, we're going to spoil something. So we out. Let's go.
Hey guys, thank you guys for joining us for our spoiler-free, review on Batman v Superman. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe down below to the channel. Show us some love.
And you guys already know you guys can rely on us for comic book movie news. Anything that is really hitting the web right now, we are going to start getting into a lot of things. We got, we're going to get into our spoiler review for this. We got a couple other videos that we have in the works that we're starting to spitball around right now. We also have a lot of Civil War stuff getting ready to break after Batman v Superman has been released.
Right.
We're going to start getting stuff for Civil War, X-Men Apocalypse. Hey, there's a movie called Rogue One coming out. Yeah, we handle Star Wars stuff.
Oh
too,
yeah,
guys.
we got it, guys.
Please, guys, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Give us your feedback. Follow us on social media. You can find me on Instagram at AEllery60. Same thing on Twitter, guys. Take care.
Take it easy, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. I didn't know my Instagram handle.